after the shift. That's our topic today, the shift after the shift. When employees go home, they go to another full-time job, y'all. They do. So today I want to talk about something I don't think we see enough when we talk about employee wellness, employee well-being. I want you to picture an employee walking into your office, walking into the doors tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. They're late again. They're distracted. They are performance is slipping. They're submitting another same day PTO request. And maybe you as the HR manager, as the leader, as their boss, you're starting to think, hmm, what's going on with her? What's going on with him? She used to be so reliable. What happened? This is becoming a pattern. Like it's becoming like a habit, a thing that she is doing, he is doing all the time. Do we need to start documenting this? Yeah, maybe we should start documenting this. That's what HR tells me to do. We should start documenting this. But here's what you don't see. At 3 a.m. this morning, she was in the emergency room with her mother. She came home at 5:30 a.m., made sure mom took medication, made sure mom got settled in. Then she got settled in. She took a shower. She got dressed and she drove to work. Or she showed up if she's working from home or he's working from home. HR or you, the boss, you probably see the attendance occurrence. You see performance is declining. You see the employee trying to keep two lives from falling apart. And you don't even know it. And that distinction is exactly where we're going with this conversation. There's a quote from the author Rosalind Carter that says, there are four kinds of people in this world: those who have been caregivers, those who are caregivers, those who will be caregivers, and those who will need caregivers. Which one are you in right now? Today, I want to talk about those people because some of them work for you, some of them are working next to you, and some of them, maybe you, maybe it's you, right? I want to talk about this conversation because yesterday, Broward, and I have to give kudos to my amazing board member, Katrina Barnes, who is the programs director, the board of directors for Broward, formerly known as HRABC, Human Resources of Association of Broward County. And Broward, if you don't know, is doing the darn thing. Okay, if you are an HR professional, if you are a business leader, if you are a professional, if you are a boss, if you are a manager, if you, whatever role you are in from a leadership standpoint, and you are overseeing people are reporting to you, you need to be a part of an organization like Broward. I'm going to kind of put a little snippet for them in here, because Broward is not only is an organization where it's a nonprofit organization with amazing professionals, and we're not just putting on events and conferences, and we are speaking to what the people need, what folks are going through right now, in their workplace, at home, like it's all colliding, especially in this climate right now. There's a lot going on. And Sharm Broward have their hands on the pulse of what's happening. We got awards from Sharm National, like we're out there. And this lunch and learn that I attended yesterday, that my board member Katrina Barnes was able to put out to all of the members that wanted to join. And if you missed it, you missed it. You missed it. So I attended this lunch and learn, and it was about senior caregiving, right? And how we don't even know what we don't know, right? So this lunch and learn was, the representative was Denise Simmons, and she has an organization called Wisdom Senior Care in Fort Lauderdale. And I expected to learn something, like you go to all these events and trainings and whatnot, and you always expect to learn and network, right? When it was a webinar, but I didn't expect to feel seen. And that's when you, it's amazing when you go to these, when you go to all these events and you don't know what to expect, but when you do show up, it just feels, being seen and listening to her talk in her expertise about senior care and how important it is, where we all hope to get to one day, how we should look into it now and make sure that our employees are taken care of in that way, because we really, it would behoove us, right? And it would behoove us right now to start doing that. So Denise was talking about caregiving, she was talking about burnout, she's talking about the sandwich generation, employees simultaneously trying to manage work and manage children and take care of their parents at the same time, with medical appointments and medications and emergencies and finances and all the things, and everything gets put on your plate, one thing after another. And and it's just, and it's true, because it's a lot. And I say that because, and I feel really felt seen, because I am a caregiver, like for my mom, right? And I sat there thinking, she's talking about me, right? So if you are a caregiver right now, she was talking about you, right? And because I'm a caregiver for my mom, and I help take care of, other members with, looking up stuff and researching stuff and making sure that they're doing the best, like they have the most updated information with what they need as it relates to their care. Caregiving doesn't politely make appointments. It just, on the drop of a dime, it's on your calendar and it happens, and you have to respond, right? And in a lot of cases you have to react, right? Sometimes the phone rings, right? Something happened, plans change, you're worried, you're trying to figure out the appointment, you're checking on somebody, you are managing decisions, and then you expect to go to work and behave as though everything is fine. Everything is fine. And that's what struck me in that conversation yesterday with Miss Simmons. I'm no longer working, though I'm not working inside an organization. I left corporate America, started my own company, Dale Reports, centered around helping leaders prevent burnout and conflict resolution and communication, and inspiring their direct reports so they can have better experiences with them, right? To remove all the emotional stress that they don't even know that they're doing, right? And though I'm no longer working in that, I thought about, if I was there, if I this was my situation years ago when I was working, and my manager understood what I was going through, that would have made me feel so understood, so seen, so validated, and know that I wasn't in it alone, right? Not that they necessarily can fix it, but not excuse every responsibility that I had to do, right? But they just understood, you know? And think about it in your own situation, right? How much would you feel like, oh man, it's good that, he gets it. And yes, I have to be accountable for the task that I have, but he or she gets what I'm going through, right? And you're not alone. You feel like you're not alone, and that's what being in that training or that webinar was for me. And sometimes being seen doesn't remove the weight of the situation, but it changes how you feel, how you carry it. And that's where emotional intelligence comes into play, right? That's where emotional intelligence comes into play. Think about every employee walking through your organization, walking through those doors, carrying a backpack, an invisible backpack. We see the person, we see the badge, we see the title, we see the performance that they're putting on because they're acting and doing all the things, right? But we don't see what's inside that backpack. And that backpack is them coming in with all the things that they're coming with from their personal lives. And you, as if you're one of those old school leaders that says that those don't bring your work problems at your home problems at work, sometimes that seeps in. And the question is, what are you going to do when it does? Right? One person is carrying a parent with dementia and diagnosis, and that is no joke. Another person is raising a teenager while caring for their dad. Another person spending nights in the ER. Another employee is trying to figure out whether mom took her medication or not. Another is worrying in whether or not they can afford to continue being in the house that they're in because now mom needs care, and do I need to go live with mom? Like, this is all the stuff that they're thinking about and grappling with. They don't just, it is not, they just say, that's my mom, that's my dad, that's what family does. You got to suck it up. Yes. But that person that is sucking it up is a human being. And that human being, guess what, is in your workplace. They are walking into your workplace. They're carrying that backpack. And sometimes management says, why aren't you performing like you used to? Dale, that happened to me. Maybe the better question is, what are you carrying that I can't see? That doesn't mean abandoning the accountability. That's not what we're saying. Not excusing people that are taking advantage of the system, not talking about them. It means adding context to that accountability, making an informed decision because you know all that is going on, right? That's emotional intelligence leadership, right? And that is why this conversation that Miss Simmons had was really big for me and personal. And some of the numbers that she mentioned, AARP and the National Alliance for Caregiving reported in 2025 that approximately 63 million, can't sneeze at that, 63 millions of Americans, which is nearly 1 in 4 adults, are family givers, family caregivers. That number has increased 45% since 2015, and it's only increasing. And here's where every HR leader should kind of lean in. 7 out of 10 family caregivers are also employed. That's more than half. They're not somewhere else caregiving. They're in your workforce. Business leader, CEO, C-suite, you need them to do the job. They're in your workforce. And nearly 29% of family caregivers are part of that sandwich generation. I'm supposed to be a part of a sandwich generation right now where you're simultaneously caring for your kids and your adult parents all at the same time. So when we talk about workforce planning, this is it. When we talk about retention, this is it. When we talk about employee well-being, this is it. The question is, one of the questions that Miss Simmons asked in that training was, do you know how many of your employees are going through this right now? And you could see in the chat, no, no, they don't have that data. And a little deeper, right? A 2026 AARP National Alliance for Caregiving reported focused specifically on caregivers of adults 50 and older. And it says that those caregivers spend on average 26 hours every week providing care. 26 hours. One on top of everything else that they have to deal with, right? So this is kind of give you like, on average, caregiving relationship, it lasts about 5 years. So think about that. That's not mom isn't feeling well this week. That's more like appointments, decision making, transportation, prescription, meals, bathing, insurance, phone call, like all of that. I can go on and on because I'm living it right now. Hospitalization, worrying, and then work. That's why I don't want us to treat caregiving like a temporary inconvenience, because for millions of employees, it is their life. They may not say it to you because they're private and because they know they got to do what they got to do, but it's their life and they're living that. And you, as a leader, they said that, I heard this thing yesterday, was a very simple response on what a great leader is. A great leader sees their people, and a great leader never forgets their people. This is also becoming a major, so because of all of that, it's becoming a major workplace issue, right? SHRM found that 42% of working caregivers say caregiving has hindered their career advancement. Think about that. Caregivers unexpectedly miss, on average, about 2 days per month when their caregiving responsibilities aren't adequately supported. They have to miss the day because they try to juggle, and sometimes when you're juggling things, something is going to get dropped, right? And among those caregivers who lack sufficient support, 28% reduce their working hours, 21% reduce their workload, and 14% change jobs because they're looking for a job that will allow them to be a little bit more flexible so they can help take care of mom and dad or grandparents. And there's another number that kind of like it's a little uneasy. 1 in 5 working caregivers reported being treated poorly at work because of their caregiving responsibilities. That's disgusting. If you're a boss, if you're an organization out there and you are treating people like less or differently because they're providing caregiving services or help to their family member, shame on you. Shame on you. So now let's kind of bring this into leadership, because imagine already worrying about someone you love, right? And then having to worry about telling your boss that is asking you questions about this commitment that you have. AARP recently described exactly that scenario. Working caregivers have a fear disclosing their caregiving duties to their employers because they know that they're going to be treated like less. Blah, that's not wellness. That's not wellness. That's not wellness. And think about it from a HR standpoint. If you're looking at this employee that is showing up late, this employee has, same day PTO, an unexplained performance dip, a same, a sick day pattern, right? The resignation letter is going to follow. But underneath all of that, they have a caregiving duties with their mom or dad or grandparents or whoever with dementia, emergency room medications, all the things, right? So accountability matters, yes. Performance matters, yes. Attendance matters, yes. Operations matters, yes. But emotional intelligent leadership also can hold two truths at the same time. And they are: the organization has needs, and the employee is a human being and they have needs. Those truths don't have to compete. They don't have to compete. They don't have to compete. So Miss Simmons spoke about quite a few things that we could do, and she explained everything so beautifully, and I just wanted to expand on it a little bit more because this should be talked about a lot more, and especially this month being National Wellness Month. What do we do? I don't think every organization needs an immediate overhaul and start doing a multi-million dollar program on caregiving or anything like that. First thing I mentioned earlier, Ms. Denise Simmons, she mentioned, do you have a survey? Do a survey of anonymous survey of all of your employees and ask them. Find out how many of your employees are going through this. That's data. And if they're willing to share, great. And if they're not, that also should tell you something. That also should tell you something. Do you even know how many caregivers are in your workforce? Do a pulse survey. It could tell you. A pulse survey of that can give you information that your dashboard never will. That HRIS dashboard. Second, Ms. Simmons mentioned, look at your data a little bit differently. That's what I took away from it. Look at your workforce a little bit differently. Like the people that keep calling out, the people that keep asking for PTO every couple of weeks, every couple of days, their performance has changed, their turnover, the exit. And if you look at all of that information a little bit differently and see what it is that you don't see. Yes, you have that information in front of you, but what is it that that data is telling you that it's not telling you that you could ask? It may tell you what's happening, but maybe a better question may be for that data is what might be underneath what's happening, right? And then lastly, the third thing you can do is train your managers. Train your managers. Your policy can say all of the right things, but let me tell you, if your employee finally gets the courage to even walk into that manager's office and say, my mother has dementia, I am struggling. And that is why my performance have been dipping. And the first thing that comes out of that manager's mouth is, well, everybody has something going on. You just told that employee everything they need to know about your culture. A manager doesn't have to become the therapist. That's not what we're saying. That's not what I'm saying. They don't have to solve dementia. They don't have to solve childcare for that employee. They need they need to have enough emotional intelligence to say something like, I am sorry that you're carrying this. Let's look at some resources. What services, what options are there available to help you with that? Those two sentences can change someone's experience of work. Because think about that employee coming in to talk to that manager. And if that manager said, well, that sounds like everybody else's problem. Everybody got something going on. The next day, that employee can have already planned, depending on how that manager responds, to walk in with their resignation. But if that manager stopped and said, man, Tommy, Sally, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. That must be tough. How can I help? What kind of what can we look up? What services can we look up to help you with that? Have you done any research? How can we be flexible with your schedule and at the same time make sure that all of the assigned duties and whatnot get done? How can we do that? There has to be a way. And that's what, Matt, when you hear HR says meet the employee where they are, that's what we're talking about. That employee has that issue, meet them with that issue. Don't dismiss them with that issue, because then that issue becomes an employee that left your department. Now you have to go hire, and all the money that comes along with that, right? And the investment and the money you have lost, the